Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the annals of time, uncovering the intricate tapestry of human experience. In the early 1950s, the world was still reeling from the aftermath of World War II, with the embers of colonialism slowly fading as newly independent nations began to assert their sovereignty. In Indochina, a region of unparalleled beauty and complexity, the French were struggling to maintain their grip on a territory that had been under their control for nearly a century. The Viet Minh, a coalition of nationalist and communist forces led by the enigmatic Ho Chi Minh, had been waging a guerrilla war against the French since 1946, with the aim of expelling the colonial powers and establishing an independent Vietnam. As we navigate the labyrinthine paths of history, we find ourselves in the midst of a complex web of alliances and rivalries. The United States, still basking in the glory of its World War II victory, was increasingly concerned about the spread of communism in Asia and saw the French struggle in Indochina as a key front in the Cold War. Meanwhile, the Chinese, having recently undergone their own communist revolution, were providing tacit support to the Viet Minh, viewing the conflict as an opportunity to expand their influence in the region. In 1953, the French, under the leadership of General Henri Navarre, devised a plan to lure the Viet Minh into a decisive battle with the aim of crushing the insurgency once and for all. The plan, codenamed Operation Castor, involved establishing a fortified outpost in the remote valley of Dien, a strategic location that controlled access to the surrounding countryside. The French hoped that by creating a strong point in the area, they could draw the Viet Minh into a conventional battle where their superior firepower and training would give them the upper hand. As the French began to construct their fortified outpost, they were met with a mixture of curiosity and hostility from the local population. The Viet Minh, aware of the French plan, had been quietly massing their forces in the surrounding hills, preparing for a showdown that would determine the fate of Indochina. General Vo Nguyen Giap, the brilliant and ruthless commander of the Viet Minh forces, had been studying the French tactics, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. As the French continued to fortify their outpost at Dien Bien Phu, General Vo Nguyen Giap began to put his plan into action, carefully coordinating a massive assault on the French positions. On March 13, 1954, the Viet Minh launched a surprise attack on the French-held outpost of Beatrice, one of the key strongpoints in the Dien Bien Phu Valley. The French garrison, caught off guard, was quickly overwhelmed, and by dawn the next day, the Viet Minh had secured control of the outpost, capturing its commander, Major Paul Pegaud, and over 300 of his men. The loss of Beatrice sent shockwaves through the French command, as it became clear that the Viet Minh were more powerful and better prepared than they had anticipated. General Navarre, realizing that his forces were in grave danger, ordered a series of desperate counterattacks to try and retake the lost outpost. However, these efforts were repeatedly repelled by the Viet Minh, who had established a strong defensive perimeter around the capture position. As the battle raged on, the French found themselves increasingly isolated and cut off from their supply lines. The Viet Minh had cleverly dug in around the perimeter of the valley, using their extensive network of tunnels and trenches to move troops and supplies undetected. Meanwhile, the French were forced to rely on airlifts to bring in food, ammunition, and medical supplies, which proved to be a perilous and inefficient way to resupply their besieged garrison. On March 30, 1954, the Viet Minh launched a massive artillery barrage against the French positions, pounding their strongpoints with wave after wave of shells. The French responded with their own artillery fire, but they were vastly outnumbered and outgunned, and their defenses began to crumble under the relentless onslaught. As the days passed, the French situation grew more desperate, with casualties mounting and morale plummeting. In a last-ditch effort to turn the tide of the battle, General Navarre ordered a series of daring raids against the Viet Minh positions, hoping to disrupt their supply lines and create an opportunity for a breakout. One such raid, led by Lieutenant Colonel Marcel Bigard, took place on April 1, 1954, when a company of French paratroopers launched a surprise attack on a key Viet Minh artillery position. Although the raid was successful in destroying several enemy guns, it came at a terrible cost, with over half of the French troops involved being killed or wounded. As the French situation continued to deteriorate, General Navarre realized that his forces were on the brink of collapse. On May 7, 1954, after a grueling 55-day siege, the French garrison at Dien Bien Phu surrendered to the Viet Minh, marking a crushing defeat for the French colonial empire. The fall of Dien Bien Phu was a devastating blow, with over 11,000 French troops killed or wounded and more than 10,000 taken prisoner. General Vo Nguyen Giap's masterful tactics had outmaneuvered the French at every turn, exploiting their weaknesses and capitalizing on their mistakes. In the aftermath of the battle, the French government was forced to confront the reality of its failed colonial policy in Indochina. The defeat at Dien Bien Phu marked a turning point in the First Indochina War, paving the way for the signing of the Geneva Accords in July 1954. These accords granted Vietnam its independence, dividing the country into North and South Vietnam, with the communist Viet Minh controlling the North and the anti-communist government of Ngo Diem ruling the South. As the years passed, the Battle of Dien Bien Phu would come to be remembered as a pivotal moment in modern history, a testament to the determination and resilience of the Vietnamese people in their struggle for independence. As General Vo Nguyen Giap himself once said, the Battle of Dien Bien Phu was not just a victory for Vietnam, but a victory for all oppressed peoples around the world. Today, the battle is commemorated in Vietnam as a national holiday, with parades and ceremonies held to honor the bravery and sacrifice of the Viet Minh soldiers who fought and died at Dien Bien Phu. The legacy of the Battle of Dien Bien Phu can still be felt today, serving as a powerful reminder of the dangers of colonialism and the importance of self-determination. As historians reflect on the battle's significance, they are reminded that it was not just a military victory, but a triumph of the human spirit, a testament to the power of resistance against oppression. The Battle of Dien Bien Phu will forever be etched in the annals of history as a defining moment in the struggle for independence and freedom, a reminder that even the most powerful empires can fall when confronted with the unyielding determination of a people fighting for their rights. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that, to understand the present, we must first understand the past.